And welcome back to another Speak Your Mind episode. I'm going to throw my 2 cents in right away. I'm going to get this out of the way. There's been a lot of drama in the pop culture world. There's been a lot of frenzy, a lot of feuds going on. I don't know where Riles is at, but I'm Team Selena all the way. Okay? I love Jay Beebs. I love him. He's great. But Selena grew up on Wizards of Waverly Place. Just an awesome girl. Don't know her personally, but she looks like she's great. And I gotta go Selena, man. I don't know. Like I think Kat, my girlfriend, would probably be able to offer some more light on this current feud that's going on. But from the surface level of what I've seen, it's got to be Selena always. So I don't know
This
where
shows,
you're.
this shows our age different, Ty, because one, I don't even know what you just said about Wizards of a Waverly Place. Is that what you said? Is
Oh
that
yeah, you
was
didn't
that
grow
a
up
show?
on that incredible TV show.
See, I didn't even know that. That's kind of what pushed Selena Gomez to like? Is that where she started?
I would say that's where she started. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't. We had some push from our team and the people in our corners here to talk about the subject, and I had no idea what we were talking about. So I had a little bit of background, and it seems to me we agree. Um, just a classic case of internet bullying, which is not that's not a good thing, man. It's an epidemic. It seems like so. Um, yeah, just not very nice behaviors by our girl Haley Bieber and whichever Kyrie Jenner, is that her name? Kyrie.
Well, we obviously agree on that topic, but we're going to go into a topic that we do not agree on. This is a feud that will last like lifetimes, I think, personally. Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Now, LeBron just got the all-time points record. I get it. Woohoo. Whoop-de-doo. Awesome. I am still team MJ. I don't like I know I didn't grow up in the 80s and the 90s, and I didn't grow up with Pippen and MJ, but after watching that documentary, I'm a big you got to carry your team to success, and I think MJ does a way better job at that. I don't know. I don't know where you're at, but
Yeah, I'm Team LeBron all the way. I just like one. I felt like the doc was a little bit of like MJ propaganda. I respect MJ. Obviously, MJ is unbelievable and whatever, but and I love the pop culture behind him. Like I think that's really cool. Like there's an aura about him, um and that part's really cool. But to me, I know LeBron can come off a little bit cheesy at some points, and sometimes the way he interviews I don't agree with. But from what I gathered is what he does for the game and beyond, like for kids and his university, all that stuff, and then even just like seems like he's a well liked teammate. I don't know. That's just something that goes a little further for me. I mean, it's a tough debate, but I'm Team LeBron.
okay, so I just had an absolute panic because a car alarm is going off outside, and I live in the Arctic, and I for some reason have my window open at night.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
my room is 11 degrees. It says on the thermometer there, so it's good that Cat can also sleep in ice cold temperatures. But I agree with what you're saying. I think LeBron does a lot for the game. I think his personal, it can come off a little bit at times of, I don't know if it's arrogance or whatever. Well deserved. I mean, he's one of the best, not the best. Um, but it's weird. You like Chicago. I would have pegged you for a Chicago Bulls. Like I would have. I don't know. I'm also a big Jordan guy, and I know you're getting there, and we'll get you there. But I'm a big Jordans guy, so I think my love for Jordans I probably does sway me to the MJ side of things. Just considering that he's created, I don't think there will ever be a sneaker
Yeah,
collection.
that part I love. I mean, I love sneakers, and that part I think is super cool. I don't. It's like crazy actually to think about how that has it's became such a focal point in fashion and culture and music, whatever it is. So that part I think is pretty sweet. But I'm when I'm on the court and from a personality standpoint as a teammate, we got a heckler in the background, I think, saying Team LeBron.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Slater, I know his team,
Hey,
man.
buddy, can you tell us? Hey, come here.
Okay, so Haley or Selena, and then MJ or LeBron.
LeBron, hey buddy, LeBron James or Michael Jordan? One for LeBron, two for number one.
Oh, no way! That's one.
And then what do we think? Team Selena or
Oh,
okay,
that's
Team
the
Selena.
winner.
You didn't even have to hear
Yeah.
the other option.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, I got Slater on one side of the token there. But anyways, welcome back. We have a beautiful another episode lined up here. Another episode powered by the amazing team at TorchPro. My name is Tyler Smith. That's my great co-host from where are you in Switzerland? Biel, Switzerland.
BLBN. Two names.
BOBN Switzerland, Riley Sheehan. Today we had the pleasure of bringing on Jeff LoVecchio. Jeff is probably just a guy that you just want in your corner. You know, like those guys that when you're fighting or if, like whether it's boxing or MMA and you got your guys in your corner that are just hyping you up. I feel like Jeff's that guy. And you like want him in your corner because you know he's going to do whatever he possibly can to help you. And I think he's got an interesting path, an interesting journey, especially in hockey and like the foundation of hockey and, you know, what he had to do as a player of his role to be able to get to where he is. And now transitioning into, you know, just helping other people and helping athletes and helping get people to the next level, not just on a basis of, you know, pure strength and pure deadlifts and pure squats. You know, he's a very technical guy that likes to create new avenues in sports. And I really enjoyed just, you know, his perspective and the way he looks at the training side of things and the way he looks at, you know, the off ice development. And yeah, what do you think, Rouse?
Yeah, I mean he was great. I think as a hockey player, you want to have your personal trainers. I mean, he even said it. You can turn kind of into your life coach. You spend a lot of time in the gym, and it always helps when you have a guy in there that can motivate you, can read you, and give you what you need. And he seems like that guy, and he's had a great career. He's a cultured guy playing in different areas and different countries. Even just his captaincy at Western Michigan, we spoke about that. Like a sophomore captain, I think it was like that's a pretty impressive. Like you must have some natural born leadership skills there. And what I like too is his perspective on the game of hockey now with kids playing so much year round. And we talked about the importance of just being athletic and having fun while you're working out. I think is another big thing. So that means mixing in other sports, mixing in some throwing, some catching, some different skills to kind of keep your body moving forward, keep your body healthy, and I think all that stuff can translate onto the ice. So yeah, we hit on some good topics and really interesting guy, a really raw guy, motivational guy, like you said, and yeah, it was a great podcast.
And before we hop in, you know, we got to pump the social media. Our new Tune Tuesday. If you want to see a guy just dominate a segment, I mean, come follow because it's just been pure domination
I'm
lately.
beginning to
And
question our musical taste of our listeners. He might be
um,
like 5 years older than the average.
our Instagram, speak your underscore mind. We always love to hear from you guys. If you guys have any ideas about, you know, what to do next or, you know, new segments, I mean, we always love to incorporate our Speak Your Mind fam. So please, if you have anything, but either way, come follow, come get in on the new Tune Tuesdays, especially. And we love you all. And please enjoy this episode with the man, Jeff LoVecchio.
What's going on? Where are you? Are you you're St. Louis?
Yeah, I'm in St. Louis. I just got home from the gym. Sorry, I was rushing home here.
Oh, gosh. No worries.
Yeah, I'm in St. Louis, like 20 minutes outside downtown, maybe 25.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Where are you guys at?
Well, I'm out in Switzerland.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, BLBN. That's kind of
Yeah,
bilingual, so BLBN. I've only been here for like 2 months or so. So
yeah. How's it going?
it's been good. It's been very different. I left Buffalo. I was under contract there. We terminated my deal, so I just needed a change, and I needed to kind of get out of the North American lifestyle and hockey and just kind of relax a little. So came out here and it's been good. Lifestyle is great. We got a little boy, so watching him grow up, I'm getting more time with him, which is most important thing. And then hockey's kind of been a little difficult, but
Yeah. How
yeah,
come?
we're man. I've been hurt for a while. I got some hip issues, um, and then it's just like the schedule here. I'm assuming it was similar when you were in Europe. The schedule here, like I got here, played 2 games, break, played 3 games, hurt my hip, played
Uh,
Christmas. So it's just I've never really gotten to get into it. So it's been a little bit of a struggle that way, and I'm not performing the way I want to. But I mean, it is like getting the chance to live in this beautiful country and experience something
yeah.
totally different. So it's
Is
good that
that
way.
the A or the B league?
Hey, yeah,
Yeah, that's all. I got offered in the B League, but I was already on the plane and I'd already accepted a contract offer when I was leaving my team from Austria. I was so fucking pissed because
yeah,
that's you get over that. Like I was trying to get to Switzerland so bad. For me, it was like, can I get to Swiss B? Because like I wasn't good enough to be in Swiss A, especially not like just signed there. Like maybe I would have had a chance if I would have went to Swiss B. It'd be have to rip it up like a couple years before you get a shot.
yeah,
So I was like, all right, the place I could probably make the most money is Swiss B or Japan. And I didn't get Swiss B, but then that next year I got Japan. So for me, that was the most like I was going to make in my career. So other than, NHL and signing bonuses and shit. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's how many games have you played
I've
over
only
there?
played 8. I've been here for
Yeah.
two and a half
It's
months.
like what's so interesting too is like every league over in Europe is like a little bit different style of hockey.
Yeah,
So it's like and did you go over like after the season started here in the US too?
yeah. Like
Like you were playing in the
I played a
US?
handful of games over here, and then that was. I mean, I probably regret doing that because like we have our guys. Like all of our
Right.
imports are. I mean, a lot of them are our best players, and um,
Right.
it's the way it is. I love it. The guys are great. Everything's great, but it's just
Yeah. Just like learning that game. Like I think it's definitely hard because I switched leagues. So like I played in Italy and then Norway, and then Austria, and I was leading Austria in goals and points, and like contract negotiations between my agent and the team, and it got fucked up with the coach. He was like angry how much I was asking for, and I don't know why my agent was talking to the coach. He had nothing to do with that. So I wound up while I was leading the league in goals and points, like sat out a couple games, and I because of this fucking contract dispute for the next couple of years. So I wound up going back to Norway in the middle of the year, and
mhm.
like I ripped up Norway, and then I went to Austria and I was doing really well there, and I went back to Norway, and it was really hard to play in Norway the second time because the style was so different than Austria that I was playing
Yeah,
all season. And like since every league is different, like it's so goofy, like like just like little differences, you got to get used to and shit. But
yeah.
you'll fucking get it, man. You'll fucking crush it.
Yeah, no, it's been definitely eye opening, but it's been awesome. And like I said, like my son just turned 1. He's 14 months old actually now, but I get so much time with him that I wasn't gonna get in
Yeah,
North America,
yeah,
and I've
yeah.
seen so many things I think that a lot of guys miss out on. So I'm thankful for that. So it's
That's
good.
really
Yeah,
cool. Really cool,
yeah,
man. Love to hear that. Good for you.
yeah. Ty, why don't you kind of give your background and we'll get going.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. It's obviously a pleasure to have you. So I'm from Calgary. Well, I currently reside in Calgary, Alberta. I grew up just outside of Edmonton, and was involved in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash from
Saw that,
2018.
man.
So yeah, obviously life's been quite a little journey over these past 5 years, but definitely found myself in the I guess somewhat of the mental health space, and I don't really like to consider myself a motivational speaker, or advocate, or anything. I'm just kind of shooting the shit and telling my story at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I think we're both looking forward to today, and I guess the even just like the gap, or not the gap, the relationship between the mental fitness and the physical fitness, and kind of what you're offering. So why don't we kick things off, Vex? And so I mean, we talked a little bit about where you played before, but I guess what was your favorite place?
Oh, not counting the U.S. or like anywhere I played, or just kind of overseas once I left the U.S.
Well, the overseas ones are very enticing. I hear Japan, so I would love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah,
And
it,
but yeah, I mean,
it's
I
real.
guess overall best plays.
I mean, whenever I got to play 7 preseason games with the Bruins. So obviously,
Yeah,
like that was dope. I mean, like that was the dream. That was what I always worked towards. I signed my NHL contract with the Bruins as a free agent after my junior year at Western Michigan. I left school early, and that summer I got a bad concussion, like a really bad one, and I missed a year and a half of hockey. I thought I was never going to play again. So for me, playing those thinking I was never going to play again and turning down 400 something $1,000 tax free for like a insurance payment without knowing if I'd ever like really be able to keep playing. Like I didn't really know. And I kind of took that risk, that gamble. For me to get 7 games in the NHL preseason was like, it was really, really cool for me, and I got my fucking jersey here. And there's people who be like, oh, like, jersey in your office. You didn't play a regular season game, but man, like the how hard it was. Even if I didn't have that concussion, for me to even get to that level because I wasn't that good coming from St. Louis when I did. Like for me to get that, man, and it meant a whole lot to me. And then you add the concussion on it and all of the tough times that I went through with that. That was really special to me. But other than that, I get this question a lot. Like, where was your favorite place to play? And I divide it into 2 categories. Like, where are you talking about, like life and hockey, or like life and like the living and all that stuff? Because every country's so different, or like more like the hockey side of things and like where you're getting paid well and stuff. But I played in a town called, it's hilarious. It's like 700 letters. Székesfehérvár, Hungary. Yeah, they say it's Székesfehérvár, and it's right outside Budapest. It's in the Austrian league, even though it's a team in Hungary. That league's when I played in it, it was probably like 8 Austrian teams, and then it was like 4 or 5 teams kind of right outside Austria and like Italy, Hungary, Czech, Slovenia, Slovakia, kind of depending on the season. And dude, I love living in Hungary. Budapest, I've been to a lot of cities. I've been all over the world. Budapest, by far, one of my favorite cities I've ever been to. So I think like living that would probably be it. But like living in Japan, dude. Have you guys been to Japan?
No.
never. I want to go.
Dude, it's like the U.S., Canada, very similar. Like you walk around on a street in Canada, you walk around the street in the US, you're probably not going to know which country you're in. There's a lot of European countries where you can tell, because the older, buildings and stuff, but like it's very westernized. Dude, you go to Japan and it's straight out of the Twilight Zone. Like it is a lot different. You got, I went to that dinner thing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. Google it. It's unbelievable. But really interesting though, man. Japan is interesting because there's so much respect in that country,
Yeah.
and like little kids will walk like 5 miles to school by themselves at like 7 years old, and no one will touch them. No one needs to worry about them. Like nothing bad will ever happen to them. So it's like, whoa, like that's pretty cool. But you see differences in society and stuff. But I'd say Japan was one of the coolest places I lived, and then I loved my time in Hungary.
What's their relationship like with hockey there in Japan?
In Japan,
Yeah.
nationwide, it's not a huge sport, but the people that are in hockey, it's just like anywhere else. They're obsessed with hockey. Like
Yeah.
every town or every city, that league was actually when I played in it, it was called the Asian League, or like that's what it was, like Asia League Ice Hockey, ALIH, and it was actually 4 teams in Japan, 3 teams in South Korea, 1 team in China, and 1 team in Russia. So like, dude, I got to like be in China a lot. I got to be in South Korea a lot. I got to be in this one city in Russia quite a bit over my 2 years in the Asian League, and then obviously all over Japan. And they're really trying to grow the game. And what's really interesting, man, is I talked to so many guys who had played in that league before and asked them, like, how is it? Do you get paid on time and all that stuff? And they're like, yes, it's Japan. You get paid probably before they're supposed to pay you because they're so respectful and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
and you're never going to get shortchanged. If anything, they'll overpay you there. But they're really trying to grow the game, like I said, and when you step out on your first practice, dude, they're the fastest hockey players I've ever seen. They
Yeah.
like I was only good because I was fast and intense. I didn't have a lot of skill. I played my head down, whatever. Dude, these guys were so fast. The first practice, I was like, is this better than the NHL? Like, what is happening? But then you get them into a game, and they're good and they're skilled, but like they haven't had the same coaching that we've been afforded, and they don't. If they had that, man, they'd be churning out NHL players. I 100% guarantee. If they had great coaching from when they were young, they would be producing at least a fair amount of NHL players per capita. They just don't have the coaching over there, so they're not great with like time and space and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like we are manipulating it over in the US and Canada. But like, dude, you watch a practice or you skate with them and you're like, these are the fastest MFers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, living in Japan was awesome. Very
Uh,
cool.
Riley and I talk quite a bit about, well, just with him moving, we chat quite a bit about culture and everything. And my girlfriend and I did a Eastern Europe swing. We did Prague, Vienna, Linz, and then Budapest. And I couldn't
Oh,
agree more.
sick.
Like that Eastern Europe, like that core, I mean, the people, the culture, like everything. And I think this is what leads me to like, while you're in the US and while you're in Canada, I mean, it is hockey, hockey, hockey. I'm not saying that your life is completely devoted to it and you don't have time for anything else. But I think even with Rouse right now, like getting over there and being able to like challenge yourself to like, immerse yourself a little bit into that culture and like how they live. What did you most take from, I guess, I mean, Japan's a whole different ballgame, but like even the Europe aspect, like what did you most take? Not so much, hockey and the community around hockey in those places, but just like the lifestyle and like the headspace and the mindset they live with.
That's a great question. I learned a lot from every country that I was fortunate to play in and live in. And man, it's so different. So the first year I played in Italy, and like I had a ton of people visit me that year, and I lived in this like wood, like everything was like handmade wood in this flat that I lived in. And it was like people would come to me like, "Oh, it's so beautiful." And I'm like, "Yeah, but try and sit on that couch for 6 months. Like
Yeah.
it's not that beautiful."
Yeah.
But you know, Italy, everybody, and I think the food was better in Hungary, which everybody's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm Italian, dude." But yeah, the food was better in Hungary than it was in Italy. Like visiting Italy is awesome. It's not a place that I would live. Sorry if there's any Italians listening. Visiting and living in places are very, very different. And like living there for like 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. But I honestly, I'd actually say my perspective on the world, on how good we have it in North America, on political things, all really, really changed by living overseas. I don't take living in the U.S. for granted at all. I don't take the Constitution for granted at all, and what that affords everyone in the United States after living in some of these places. But honestly, the biggest things that I took away were living in Japan, and I think the most important was that, like, it doesn't matter what your role is in society in Japan. It doesn't matter if you're a janitor making the least amount of anyone in the country. That janitor shows up to their job every single day and they put in 100. They put in literally 100%. Their goal is to be the best janitor that has ever janitored in their life, right? And I saw that throughout all of Japanese culture. And we traveled all over the country playing games in different cities and stuff to try and grow the game while I was there. And that was something that I was like, damn, dude, like they literally take pride in everything they do. And this is like a really little thing. But I talk about it all the time is, I lived there for 2 years, for 8 or 9 months a year for 2 years. I never once went anywhere in public where you're in a public bathroom and there was piss on the seat,
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
ever. No public bathroom was dirty. Like no public anything was ever dirty, ever. Like they take pride not only in themselves, in their institutions, in their teams, like all these things. Like there's a self pride, a community pride, a country pride that they have that really affected me in a positive way. And it's something that I've tried to really preach coming back to the US. And like, dude, you go into I don't know how it is in Canada or even Switzerland for that matter. But like you go anywhere, any gas station, nice restaurant, there's gonna be piss all over the seat. And it's like
Yeah.
what? And it's such a little thing, but like it's a big thing, you know?
Switzerland's similar to that, but it's crazy to hear that because of the population difference between Switzerland and Japan. Like Switzerland, there's only 8 million people, so you can like one of the things that's obvious in Switzerland is salary is higher. Average salary is really high, so people have incentive to go to work and they have incentive to do their job the way that they should. But when you're talking about a country that's one of the biggest in the world, like that's another. I feel like that's a whole nother culture thing in terms of like what you build and what you expect of people. I think that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But that's good
Yeah.
as a
It
strength
was
coach,
awesome.
like to be able to take that. Like I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Last Lecture, and he talks about he calls it a head fake, and obviously we know head fake as go one way. You're thinking about going the other way, right? But his way of putting the head fake into a life lesson is you learn all these things while you're doing one thing, even though your focus really isn't on that. And so it's funny, like you talk about that, like you're playing. I think that's one thing that sports does so well is you're put into competition, you're put into all these events where you're focused on winning, you're focused on getting better, but you're learning so many other life lessons along the way. And sometimes it takes you a while to actually like light bulb moment. Oh, I learned that while I was training. I learned that while I was playing. I wonder, is that something like you focus on? It's hard to like preach that to the guys while they're training, but I think there's ways of training, like push that you in your head, you're like, okay, this kid's gonna remember that down the road when he has a kid and his kid's giving him some trouble and he needs to kind of navigate through this the right way or whatever. Does that make sense to
Dude,
you?
yeah, 100%. There was a lot of those little details too, like the fans. I don't know if how it. I know that like in Switzerland, there's some teams that have unbelievable fans. I'm not sure how it is where you are, but when Europe, not Japan as much, but Europe, that even on my team in Italy, Norway, especially my team in Hungary in the Austrian league, dude, the fans were the best there. They were like the soccer fans in Europe, and they're so passionate and they cared so much, and it just like that really like when I left to go overseas, I was like, okay, like not that I didn't enjoy my pro career in the US, but like I was so uptight. I was so like not always myself, even around the coaches. Cause like I was always, it was beat into me like respect your elders, respect your coaches. Like I didn't really let my guard down like I was able to in college in my last year of juniors. And then especially when I went overseas in pro to like be me in the locker room and be me around the fans and stuff. I really gained like a really massive appreciation for the people that support hockey. And like if there's no fans in pro hockey, you have no job.
Yeah.
Like there's no money coming in, like so like it really made me like, especially in Europe too, like they need the fans at those games too, because they don't have these huge companies behind all the teams or these huge billionaires or whatever behind some of the teams. So that gave me a different perspective as well. And it really like made me go out into like the fan community a little bit more for each team I played on, and like really enjoyed, yucking it up with the fans and having fun. And that's something that I try to impress upon my guys too, like sign every single autograph. And especially I'm retired now, nobody's ever going to ask me for my autograph again.
Mm.
Like that's a special thing. You work your whole life as a little kid hoping somebody wants your autograph one day. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you stop and think about, okay, how many billions of people in the world live their life and not one person ever asks them for an autograph for real, and you got people asking you every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, like, having an appreciation for that. And then, that's gratitude, and that gives you perspective. And then I think that lets you play harder and smarter when you have that. You come from a place of gratitude and appreciation too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get like I mean, I've never been personally in a pro sport position or a pro athlete position, but believe it or not, I have signed some autographs after some public speaking engagements, and I always ask the kid, like, "Do you really want me to
Yeah.
sign this?" But I think it is easy to get complacent about it. It is easy to like, okay, well, I don't need to sign this. I can just keep moving on. But I mean, those small little impacts you can make, and I mean, impact. I think you've said it, and you maybe weren't the crazy goal scorer, the top or the fighter at all times, but like you are a big personality and you are somebody that obviously made an impact. And Riles, I know, wanted to touch on this, but like even being a captain at the college hockey level, I think that's something that, goes without saying, that everything that you have in you has been instilled in you from the start. Can you talk about like that foundation and like, I mean, even that we'll talk about the transition from, your pro career to now doing what you're doing, but you can still see it and you can still feel it even through the screen, that you have a passion for this and you want an impact no matter what, environment or sport you're playing or whatever it is. So, I mean, yeah, touch on a little bit about like that foundation of who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it started for me at a young age. I was a captain everywhere. I told you I missed my whole first year pro, like technically my contract. My first game back in the AHL after I was the last cut from NHL camp after missing a year and a half. I had an A on my jersey in the AHL. I was a captain everywhere I played. And that actually started at a young age. I still remember the game where I had this like switch flip. My first year playing AAA was in seventh grade, man, and I played 1 to 2 shifts a game, like not a period, like 1 to 2 shifts a game. I was the 12th forward out of 12. Luckily, I had really fucking. I don't know if you cuss on this podcast. Sorry, I have
If you
really
ever,
awesome parents. I have really awesome parents, and they weren't the type that would go and talk to coaches. They were like, "Well, if you want to play more, you go ask the coach what you need to work on. How can I serve the team better? What do I need to do to be a better me? Bring a notepad in there and write down what they say, and then work on whatever they say." And so that was in seventh grade, and then every year from then on, I just took it upon myself to like do more work a little bit harder. Smarter came a little bit later, and that instilled confidence in me. And then I also found that when I was doing that, if I could bring a guy with me, not only am I like now it's fun to like work out with a buddy or a partner or a teammate, and then also like he's pushing me to be better. So by me like pushing somebody else to be better, it pushes me to be even better. And so it's like I was like always bringing guys up with me. And I remember specifically this one game at this rink here in town where I kind of took over the locker room in between periods, and I got the guys going, and I took over the radio and I did all this stuff that like used to be like quiet between periods. Guys weren't playing music, and I was like, turn the music on. I remember what song I put on. I got the guys going. We went out there. The boys were riled up, and we came back and won the game. And from then on, from eighth grade on, it was just like, okay, I love helping other people like reach their potential. I love helping other guys get like just a little bit more out of themselves. And then I also realized that if I was going to be the guy who's going to do that, I also had to walk the walk if I was going to like push everybody else to be better. So like it also forced me, by me putting myself purposely in an uncomfortable leadership position starting at a young age, it forced me to be out front. And I knew that if I was out front, I better fucking walk the walk. Like if I'm going to do this, like I have to take care of my own backyard too. And that just constantly pushed me harder, further, all that type of stuff. And I think it starts from my dad. He's an entrepreneur, has been, almost all of his life. I watched him grind. I watched him support our family. My mom is a great mom, watching everything she did for my sister and I while my dad was off grinding, working and stuff. That instilled a lot of those qualities in me. And like I said, now in my life being retired, like especially because I didn't quote unquote make it. Like obviously everybody's goal, make $10 million in the NHL. I didn't do that. So I got to work, I have to work. Um, but because I didn't make it, and because of something that happened when I was in juniors, my second year, I had a teammate and a friend. He pretty much died in my hands in a car accident, and that was really hard for me at 18 years old. He died on my birthday, and he always was saying all the time. His name is Phil Todd. He's a great guy. He was always saying like, "I'm going to die before I'm 30. I'm going to die before I'm 30." He'd always say that, and he did. He died at 19, and honestly, that was something I always felt too. I could never see my future. I could never see past like hockey. I could never see having kids. I could never see being adult. So that was something I stopped saying when he did pass away, because he said it all the time. But it made me like really really live in the moment every day and try to get the most out of every single day. Because, you get a friend who dies in your hand at 18 years old, you realize sooner than other kids that, like, whoa, your time here is not guaranteed. And so that, coupled with my injuries and the population I work with, every day I just want to lead others to, like, do everything they can to maximize their abilities, because I know for a fact, like, time could run up at any moment. And that's, the concussion thing that I had happen was like such a freak accident. All my dreams are coming true. And then all of a sudden, like, I have this thing happen where I can't even be in a grocery store for 4 minutes for like 6 months. And, working out and playing hockey was my life, and I couldn't do either. And I didn't know if I was going to be like that the rest of my life. So I was like, fuck, if I come back from this and I'm able to, like, exercise again, let alone play hockey, I'm gonna like squeeze every drop out of everything every single day I'm alive, no matter how long that is. And I want to empower others to do the same. And that's what I try and do in my life, in my gym, with my clients, on social media, is just remind people of that. Nothing's guaranteed.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez, that's unbelievable. How, like, do you find, like, how to formulate this question? Like, I got a few in my head, but like the consistency part of that, like, there's days that are just hard to, like, there has to be days that are hard to wake up. And there's like, there is a big role to be the raw passion guy, right? Like, when you're at the gym, like, it's your part of your job is to motivate. Um, how do you, like, navigate through those days where you just have to, like, is it to put your head down and battle, or is it like is there reflection time you have, or like, what do you have, any like modalities you rely on? Like, what do you go
Coffee.
to?
Lots and lots of
Coffee.
coffee.
Yeah.
No, um, I mean, yes, that is a part of it, but uh, a couple of things. Like, so I start every session now for the last probably 3 years, probably since COVID. Start every session with the guys. Like, we have some warm up stuff and some hand eye stuff they do as guys are trickling in, rolling, all that. But when I start my session, I usually have about 20 guys in each group all day long. Like, I usually train 100 to 130 guys a day in the off season. And we start every session with everybody laying on their back and visualization. And I walk them through a visualization. And while I'm walking them through that, like, even though I'm talking and I'm leading it and they're all there with their eyes closed, like, I'm also doing it in my head. Like, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be in 6 months? Where do I want to be in a year? What does that look like? How do I get there? How do I need to show up right now for this session to get to where I want to be? And I'm visualizing in 6 months, in a year, in 6 years. Visualization was something that really changed my career. After my teammate passed away, I was given a sports psychology CD that I used to listen to before every game on my CD player. That's how old I am.
The old
37,
Walkman.
old balls.
The
Yeah, I
wraparound
had a Walkman,
headphones.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah.
if I jogged too hard in my warm up, I'd have to pause because the CD was skipping.
Yeah.
Just old balls, loose skin, gross. But so visualization is one. Also, man, like I said, I just, like, I fucking love helping people get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a massive chip on my shoulder. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm from St. Louis. When I grew up, I didn't know anybody who I didn't know anybody personally that played Division One college hockey. I didn't even know what the OHL was. I won Silver Sticks MVP in Sarnia, and I came home. It was my freshman year of high school. I came home and I get a call on the first day I was back. Hey, this is Sarnia Sting. We want to draft you in the first round. Are you interested in coming playing for us? And I was like, what's the Sarnia Sting? They're like, we're in the OHL. And I was like, what's the OHL? Dude, we had no, there's no
Yeah.
internet back then, or like barely internet. Phones didn't have internet. I had no idea. I knew one guy who signed an NHL deal, Cam Jansen. He was only a year older than me. So, like, we were always skating together. So, like, that was the only person I knew. We didn't have a bunch of guys coming out. So I had a chip on my shoulder that I wanted to help St. Louis hockey. And I've been doing that since I was 17. After my first year of juniors, I came home. So, like, one, I have a massive passion and a chip on my shoulder that I want St. Louis to just produce hockey players. So, like, that every day, that drives me. Two, I feel like because of my concussion, I didn't get to fulfill my or maximize my abilities and my potential for something that was out of my control. And I don't lean on that like, oh, poor me. No, I'm like, well, fuck that. I couldn't do it. I'm going to help others achieve, whether that's getting a scholarship, making the USHL, making more money in the NHL, AHL Pro. I don't care what it is, but like every day I have a chip on my shoulder. Like, I better help other guys. And also, like, I feel like if another guy has a goal and I know all their goals before every offseason, we go over those. If I know that they reach their goal, and even if I helped 1%, man, that fills my fucking cup more than anything out there.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to fill my cup in the way that I wanted to with my hockey career. So that's massive for me. I wasn't kidding about coffee. I drink a lot of coffee, and music. Music really affects me on like a deeper level than most people. I could be in the worst, and so like I also know like just like I've learned so many tricks to like beat the bad days. I have bad days too, but like I think about my goals. I visualize where I want to be. I practice gratitude. Where was I? I've been through a lot of hard shit in my life relative, to other people. Um, um, and I think about those and I just like, I don't let myself feel bad for myself ever. All right. You're tired. Well, guess what? I could have been born in Ukraine in a war right now. I'm fucking in a gym with a bunch of Division I scholarship athletes who are looking at me to help them get better. Like, shut up, Jeff. Let's go. Let's get them going. I put on some sick tunes. I slam some coffee and I get the boys going. Right. And so, like, obviously everybody has to find a different way to get through those times. But for me, gratitude, visualization, breathing techniques, massively important. That's helped me a ton. And then music that like I feel, I don't listen to, I feel that always helps me.
Ty, I know
Yeah.
you're going to ask about the music.
Well, I would love to get into the music. Like, we'll definitely get into the music at the end of the episode, but I actually really want to focus on youth hockey. Um, I am fortunate to, coach some 11 and 12-year-olds, and I've done a fair amount of speaking to high schools and to, that age group. And it's so interesting because I think that at least in Canada right now, it's the constant debate of, should kids be doing other things? Should kids, not engulf themselves with hockey all summer and spring long? Should kids, should we be preaching these messages of mental, fitness and mental well-being at an age like this where they, they can retain it and they can, so this is a wide scope. This is a broad question, but where are you at with that? Because I know, like, even I'm only, how many years out of that age of hockey, and I really enjoyed playing lacrosse in the summer. I really enjoyed playing golf in the summer. I really enjoyed other things. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe if I would have engulfed myself in hockey, I'd be doing some stuff that maybe my buddies are doing right now and still playing, but where do you find, where are you at with that?
Bro, tee me up. Okay. I love this. Tee me up. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever watched my off season on my Instagram. You probably haven't since the first time we're meeting, but I put what I do with my guys from NHL, college, juniors, midgets, kids down. We play multiple sports in my gym every single day.
Love it.
I create games with constraints on them using soccer balls, lacrosse sticks, basketballs, footballs, spike ball, like as much as we can, because of exactly what you're alluding to is that there's too many kids playing hockey year round. Dude, you listen to Wayne Gretzky, best player of all time. I think Sidney Crosby's the best player of all time.
My
Everybody
guy, my
me for that.
guy.
But dude, I think he is. But okay, whatever. Gretzky's one. You can say Crosby's two. Whatever. Like, dude, they played. Gretzky's always said play other sports. Like everyone. I have a podcast with over 1 million downloads on hockey called the Hockey Think Tank Podcast. What's up? Check it out, listeners. And shameless plug. And we talk about this specific topic all the time. We've had on guys like Adam Nicholas, who's with Montreal, and he won a couple cups with the Steel and USHL, about how he steals from basketball all the time and soccer and implements those things into practice and also off the ice. Dude, I do this stuff all the time because from a biomechanical standpoint, just from like a basic level of understanding, skating and walking are not the same, right? Like skating, the way that movement is for our hips, it's not natural. And that if you look at the rise in hip surgeries in amateur athletes, it's just up and up and up and up. And that's because of multiple factors, but I think the number one being year round hockey. You've got to get off the ice. You have
Mm-hmm.
to. All right. You've got to like rehab your body from being in these positions that are not
Yeah.
natural for us. You're not supposed to be bent over like this over your stick, for how many hours every week, week after week after week. You've got to combat that and get back into healthy posture positions and strengthen yourself. And then on top of that, something like for me, I stopped playing all other sports after sixth grade. And when I reintroduced on my own into my own training, when I turned pro, I started training myself. I didn't have a trainer anymore. I trained myself. And I started doing basketball, soccer, like bringing them into my workouts, running around and dribbling while looking around the room and trying to read signs. So it's like, that looks goofy as hell, but like, what am I doing? I'm working on my coordination while I'm moving. I'm trying to use my eyes to find things around the room. It's all things that apply to hockey without having to be on the ice, which then also means you're not paying $1 billion over the summer because hockey's so freaking expensive, which drives me insane too. So long-winded answer, which I do a lot. Yes, kids should get off the freaking ice in the summer. If I think tryouts should be at the end of summer, personally, so that kids can get off the ice for a while, play multiple sports, get in the gym. The kids who are going to get better because they're dedicated are going to get better, and then come back and do like 3 week ramp up to tryouts and then have tryouts. I think that would make way more sense. People wouldn't have to be crazy. They could play other sports. It wouldn't get in the way of these stupid summer programs that are just money makers for guys who used to play and they're trying to make money. So they put kids on the ice all the time, even though they don't believe in that stuff. I think a camp here or there in the summer, totally fine. Go with your friends, have fun. But if you're on the ice 3, 4 days a week all summer long, you're going to burn out. It's going to lead to most likely increased risk of injury, and you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to help you in the long term as well.
I love that. I love that, and I think there's one. I'd like to add one more thing to that is there's like a social part of it too that's different, which stands out to me. Like I think we all know like hockey players are very very similar, right? Like you have a lot of you have a similar passion, you get personality traits, you even talk in a similar way. You kind of a lot of guys are from a similar type of household and things like that. And what I noticed, like I grew up playing basketball till 10th grade or till ninth
Sick.
grade. Same thing. I played lacrosse. I played soccer. My dad was a phys ed consultant, so he was always bringing home all the different phys ed equipment from the schools and things like that. So sports were just a big passion of mine. But one thing I noticed is like on the basketball court and on the bench, guys were totally different than what I had experienced in the hockey locker room. And it just allows me now to be more flexible with the type of people that I interact with. And people have like different social backgrounds, different parents, and it's just like it adds to your like almost like you can be more sensitive, like talking to people, and you can be more educated talking to people. So I think that's such an important thing and an added on element to what you're saying. It's just like sports can bring you so much good from like athleticism, but like also a social aspect to it that I think sometimes goes missed. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love that. I absolutely love that. It's something I talk about a lot too. And the dynamics of every locker room in different sports, they're always different. Every sport is different. I just got finished working with two NFL athletes and a Division I receiver over the last 4 weeks. And it was just those three in my gym because like this isn't my busy season right now. So I was able to work with them and I absolutely loved it. Completely different gym
Yeah.
atmosphere, approach. Learning like how to light their fire versus a hockey player's fire coming into the gym. And some of it's the same, some of it's different, but I work with like 98% elite hockey players. So to work with a different population was really, really cool. And it was cool to see the difference in the approach and the energy in the gym and how they do things differently, how they talk, how they walk, like everything. And just,
Hmm.
yeah, you're so right, man. If you're exposed to more more situations, more populations, more everything. When you're younger, you're going to be more empathetic. When you're older, you're also going to be a better leader. You're going to be a
Yeah.
better follower because you haven't just led one type of group. You've had the ability to lead multiple types of groups. You've had the ability to follow in multiple settings, multiple socioeconomic settings, multiple personalities, and so the sport of hockey is going to end for everybody at some time. I don't care if you're Sidney Crosby and you played 20 years in the NHL, or you're me and you played 10 years pro all over the world, or you're somebody who finishes after high school. Hockey will end, and you're going to need to do something with your time after. And the
Hmm.
more experiences you're exposed to when you're in these younger ages, the better off you're going to be in hockey, and more importantly, out of hockey, which is going to be a longer period of time over the course of your life.
Yeah. What do you what do you notice about like when you were playing like even just being like I assume you're a fan of like TorchPro, right? Like you've had some involvement with the stuff that they're doing. Um
Beauties.
like when I look at when I played as a young player, like in Detroit, I was like teammates with like Todd Bertuzzi and Dan Cleary, like Zetterberg. Now, these guys were like my idols growing up, and like I think about like experimenting with something like Torch Pro back then, and I don't know if it's something that I would have had the confidence to do because I didn't ever like I thought I'd ruffle feathers trying to put my personality out there, but there's this shift now, and as an older guy now, like I think if I saw a young guy doing it in the right way, in a respectful way, in a way that's offering assistance to youth or to a certain group of people or whatever it is, I'd be so pumped for them. But it's something that I didn't have when I was younger. I guess like looking back at your pro career and when you were growing up, like how would you have perceived that, and how do you perceive it now? Um, Now knowing the power of just putting yourself out there and allowing people to get to know you.
Yeah, man, this is something that, I do a lot of reflection in my life. Like every day, every session, guys leave the gym before the next group comes in. I'm like, could I have done something better? Did I get the most out of every guy? Like, just constant reflection, because I feel like that's how you get better, and honesty with yourself too. Like not sugarcoating it, like not being mean to yourself either, but just like constant reflecting. So I always look back on like my career and stuff like that. And I had so much more fun playing hockey professionally when I went to Europe because I was myself.
Mm-hmm.
I did every interview that was asked. I'd go out of my way to do interviews. I'd go out of my way to interact with fans. And I've been retired 5 or 6 years now, and like even so like 10 years ago, when I'm halfway through my career, there were some guys who were like, "Oh, like Bex is out there, whatever." And I was like that when I was younger, but I think the thing with my teammate passing away, it really changed the way I look at things. I was just like, dude, I could die tomorrow. What? I'm not going to go have fun with the people who are paying my salary out there. I'm not going to go, shake some babies and kiss some hands with the fans, and because I'm worried about what some boner thinks about me. Like, no, I'm going to go be me, and the more you are you, the more fun you can have, the better you're going to be. But this is something that I really harp on with my pro guys and my college guys, is that like you can use social media for a lot of good. And it's not just
Mm-hmm.
social media, but like by putting yourself out there, you can do a lot of good, man. Like I think about when I grew up, there was only one player that came back and skated with us as younger players, and he made one of the biggest impacts on my entire trajectory of my life. And he only skated with us 3 times. He's now an assistant coach in the NHL. He was playing at Union College at the time, and he came back and I think he put his gear on for one practice. I'd never seen a college hockey player, and he came back and he'd stop the practice and tell us, "Hey, try this when you're doing this." And I was just like, this guy's so cool, and he gave back to us. He took time out of his break to come skate with us a couple times, and I looked up to that so much. And I was like, I want to be that guy. I want to help the team behind me and 5 teams behind me. And I want to help St. Louis hockey. And he made such a massive impact on my mindset to just like not care what anybody says and just go out there and help, the kids coming up after me. And I've just taken that every year. And then through leadership roles and stuff like that, I've pushed that envelope. I've gotten more comfortable putting myself out there. Because once you know that you helped one person, it's like kind of addicting. You're like, man. And I also selfishly, I look back and I'm like, I wish I had me when I was 14.
Yeah.
If I had me when I was 14, I would have been so much freaking better by 15, 16, 18, 20. Just working on things that I help my guys. Like a lot of people in the gym that are strength coaches, performance coaches, they only focus on the gym. It's all about the gym. You come in, you work out, you leave. It's like, dude, like I played 10 years pro. I was a captain of a Division I team as a sophomore. I was the captain as a sophomore. Like I can offer more. So I talk to my guys about how do you talk to coach? How do you talk to agents? How do you email a USHL team if you're in the null and you want to move to the USHL? What do you do after a bad practice? What do you do after coach shits on you in video for an hour straight? What do you need to do to get back into a positive mindset? What do you do in this situation? What do you do in this situation? Like I try and help them as much as I can. And I think that, and that's something that I impress upon all my guys. If you can go back and speak to a kids team, like go do it, go do it. I bring kids teams in when my pros are in there and they don't even know, they didn't used to know it's coming. Now, like some of them asked to do it and be like, hey guys, this is Trent Frederick in the NHL. This is Chris Weidman. This is so-and-so, whatever. Like ask them any questions you want. And like those guys enjoy that now. So like, I think that with the, invention of social media and people seeing the power of helping others, I think that it's becoming more and more acceptable. I think putting yourself out there is more and more acceptable. And I also think like from a business standpoint, like Paul Bissonnette, like obviously he doesn't do it the way that I do it. Like nobody has to do it the same, but like you see the power of putting yourself out there and what it can lead to.
Yeah.
I think that changed the game for a lot of people, and you can do it in any way you want. You can do it like you guys, like helping players with their mental health and their mindset and things like that. You can do it with working out. You can do it with branding yourself. You can do it with all these different things. And I always say to myself, if I'm not doing it, somebody else is going to. So why shouldn't I? And I just
Right.
stopped caring what anybody thinks about me that doesn't like me. Like I know who I'm helping. I know I'm helping, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, it is. I
Yeah.
think it all comes down to like even just like harmony and like balance and like being able to, it's not like you got to do it every single day and put yourself out there and get out there, but like take those opportunities and seize those opportunities and understand that even the smallest amount of impact can lead to so many benefits for that individual or whoever it may be. The gym, I think a gym for an athletic person, I know that when I'm starting to get out of my groove and starting to, not feel great, it's because I haven't been to the gym and it's because, I haven't got a sweat in and moved my body. And I mean, like you said, 98% of your people that are coming into that gym are elite level athletes. I think in some respects there is still an intimidation with a gym, and there is still, this is still a place where, you just want the best for yourself, but it is hard at times to get there. What is the atmosphere you're trying to create? What are the values you're trying to instill? What is it about your particular gym that you hope that when that kid goes home to his parents at the dinner table, that's what he can express about the gym? It wasn't just about, doing a bicep curl and a couple, lunges and then, come home. What is it that you're trying to create with this team, like you said?
For me, when I started training, it changed my life. I wasn't Nobody would ever guess that I was unconfident, but I was definitely not like when I was in middle school, beginning of high school, like I'd go to parties and I'd sweat through like 4 shirts, like, cause I was like, I had a little bit of social anxiety, and nobody would know that unless I told them. And like, I was very skinny growing up. And so like my family, it wasn't really like outside peep forces. It was more like my family would like chirp me here and there. And so that would make me like a little bit less confident. And once I got injured my first year in juniors when I was 17 in the USHL. And I tore my groin off the bone, and they didn't get me an MRI. Looking back, that was so stupid and cheap of them. So they just told me to work out my upper body. So I worked out my upper body 93 days straight. Didn't take a day off. Like the same exercises like every day because didn't know what I was doing. But I came back and I built so much confidence off the ice, which translated to confidence on the ice. And like confidence in life, confidence walking in a room, like not because like I was confident I could go in there and beat somebody up. Like I just was like more confident, but because I put in work, that sweat equity, that I had to earn something. Like you can't buy being in shape. You can't buy muscles. And I'm not talking about bodybuilder being huge. Like you can't buy that peace of mind you feel after you smoke yourself in the gym and you know that you got better. You can't buy that. It has to be earned. You have to put in the work to do that. And so it builds a lot of confidence. And so for me, like that's something that I'm constantly impressing upon everyone who steps through my doors. Like I don't care if you're level 0 or you're level 10 out of 10. Like you're going to put in 100, not 99, not 90. Like I think most people think their 100 is actually like their 80 or 90. And that it's probably even less than that. They probably think like their 100 is their 70, right? Like, no, we're going to put in 100. And that doesn't mean you just run around like a chicken with your head cut off. If it's a recovery day, we're actually putting intention into our breath with our movement, with our visualization. We're putting intention behind everything so we can squeeze every last drop out of however long you're in the gym. I have this massive hand painted sign in my gym that overlooks a window that looks at the rink where all the guys skate after they train with me in the summer. And it says, "What is your why?" And every single day, every guy, I'm hitting them, read it, read it. Don't tell me, tell yourself. Why are you in here? Why are you in here? Because also like I don't need them in the gym. Like I got a line of hundreds of people who want to be training with me. And I'm like, if you're not giving everything to yourself, not to me, don't work out for me, work out for you, then I don't want you in here because I know for a fact that the worst thing any athlete or person can have in life, I think, is regret. And I'm sure you guys both know players who are 30 years old, sitting at the bar, drowning in booze, talking about if I would have just this, I could have been this. If I would have, oh man, I could have been. I should have been, man. You should have seen me. It's like, no, bro, you ate chicken wings every day and you went to the gym once a month. No, you didn't put in the work. And they know that deep down. And that causes depression, that regret that they didn't give their all. And that is a speech I give to everyone in my gym almost every single day. Never live with regrets. Spend it. Do everything you possibly can today to get as good as you can today. We'll go to sleep, recover. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. We'll go to sleep, recover, do the same thing the next day. Because all our goal should be is to make you the best you can possibly be, try to reach your maximum potential so that you have no regrets in life. And along that journey of doing that day in, day out, year in, year out, you're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to build so much self-confidence. Nothing will ever be able to tear you down. If you got a bad game, a bad week, whatever, you know that you can do things to build your own confidence, to build yourself back up. But if you're not doing those things, you're a less confident person. You're less resilient, and you're not as mentally tough. So like it's a whole lot of things all in one. But like for me, the gym is more important mentally than it is physically, or equally as important.
Yeah.
That's I think it's a good lead into this question. It's a touchy subject, I think, for a lot of people, and even like for us, like we like to preach like compassion and understanding, and each people's has, like, if you've had trauma, if you've had different life experiences that kind of structure the way you are. But there's like especially in sports, there's a push and feel good when you're done. But then there's also don't like stop, and it might be better for you. Like, I guess, like, stop and take care of your mental health. Like, you've seen some of these athletes take a step back, and it's tough for me to answer, like, what do you think about that? Because like you're not in their shoes, but I never would want to see an athlete not perform on the biggest stage, or not perform into that spot where they've earned with all the hard work, because they can't um they can't put together what's going on in their head. And you almost have to be like picky with the words that you choose in this, because it's such a sensitive topic. But like, we've talked about it. Ty, remember we talked about it with Nick Hardwick, football. He was a center for the San Diego Chargers for a while. And it's like, you'd like to see these people build the tools so that when they do get in this position, or they're able to navigate it, or they don't get in that position because they're very, very strong, and and the pressure doesn't get to them as much. But like, how do you balance that line between push, push, push? It'll be good for you, or maybe take a step back. This isn't doing you any good. This is damaging you.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of people like they want to put like how they look at themselves into like multiple buckets. Well, I'm a hockey player when I'm in hockey. I'm working out when I'm working out. I'm this when I'm doing this, and it's like, no, dude, you're one piece of you're a whole pie, and you can't only work on one thing. It's kind of like a seesaw. If you only work on this thing, then something else is probably suffering because you're not giving time to this other thing over here, right? That you're pushing it down and it's going up this way. So, I say all the time, like, people always say, how do you get confidence? And I say confidence comes from preparation. And what is preparation? Well, preparation is looking at a piece of pie and then divvying up the slivers. You have to work on all the pieces. You have to work on the physical. You have to work on the mental. You have to work on recovery. You have to eat right and drink right. You got to sleep well. And then also, like, what are you taking in? What's the music you're listening to? Are you listening to Juice World, who just sings about drugs and suicide every song? If that's what you're listening to and that's what's going in your brain all the time, that is going to affect how you think at some level, right? And so, like, dude, it would drive me nuts. Like, there's like I don't let like the mumble rap shit in my gym when it's like that depressing stuff,
Yeah.
because it's like, dude, you're listening to music that is literally depressing you. I don't care if you're dancing right now; those lyrics are going into your head. Like, that's an
Mhm.
input, just like eating 50 cookies in a night is a bad input. So is music that depresses the shit out of you. And all these kids were listening to all that for a couple of years. And I was like, no, not in my gym. You're going to listen to stuff that doesn't immediately depress you. But I think that a lot of guys, they need to be proactive with their mental health, like you are proactive with your physical health. You need to be practicing gratitude every single day. You should be journaling, every single day. You should be checking in with yourself. You should be talking to other people. I also think that every person, every athlete should see a sports psychologist that can.
Yeah.
Every single athlete. And if they can't, man, there's so many books out there that you can read that will help you, and it's way cheaper than a sports psychologist, right? There's one that I read recently called RSF, Relentless Solutions Focus, and it's more of like a way to not allow like negative thoughts and feelings to like bog you down, from this guy who's a sports psychologist who was with the Cardinals when they won the world championship, um, um, the MLB title. But those types of practices, it's just like you warm up before you sprint. You don't just get into sprinting. You do your warm-ups first because like that's what you need to do to stay healthy. Well, you need to do these things for your mental health to stay healthy as well. And if your mental health suffers, your physical health suffers as well, and vice versa. Your physical health suffers, it 100% affects your mental health as well. Like, everything is connected. So if you just try to do better in all areas of your life, like a little bit better in each area, be more physically healthy, eat better foods, because the gut is the second brain. And if you're putting shit into your gut, shit's going to your brain, and those are the thoughts that are coming out, right? Like, you have to do all these things all the time and just focus on being healthy in multiple ways rather than just like, do I look good naked? Because that doesn't mean you're healthy.
Right. No,
Damn.
I love that.
Might have to
Yeah.
come down this summer and do a little 2-week program.
Anytime, bro. Anytime, man.
um,
Anytime.
well, yeah. I mean, obviously, we've covered a fair amount, and Raoul's touched on it. Music, like you said, that you're not just a
Is the
regular
question is the question coming?
Well,
You're
I'll ask the question, but I mean, you're not just a regular music listener. You listen with intent. You listen with, just like pure care. I'm not saying that you need to know where the producer's from of that particular song, but like just the lyrics and, the way that song was made. What is a typical playlist, or like what are you listening to? What are you wanting these kids to? Because I couldn't agree more with the. I mean, don't get me wrong. Rest in peace, Juice World. I mean, he's got some phenomenal music, but I couldn't agree more with you with what you actually do take in the music world. And I think, unfortunately, our youth for some reason has this infatuation with, in some respects, just mumble rap. And I love rap. Like
Mine.
I love rap. I love Tupac. I love Biggie. Like I love old rap. Like I do respect the shit out of that genre of music. But you're right. You should be listening to your music with intent. So back to my question, like, what do you listen to?
I mean, I listen to all different genres, like all different genres, but like I try to listen to, and it doesn't mean I don't listen to Juice World every now and then. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, but it's like the people who like strictly only listen to that depressing music, or like, dude, if you're an inner city kid and you're listening to every song about dealing drugs and strippers and naked girls and killing people, like that's gonna input your brain.
Yeah.
That's gonna change how you view those things, right? I think the rap culture is doing us a serious disservice. Just like maybe 80s rock glorifying drugs, like that wasn't good for youth to listen to either. Like that's not good by any means. It's the exact same thing. And I'm not saying never listen to songs that like talk about that stuff. It doesn't mean you're going to do it if you listen to it, but it's just like, I don't know, listen to more music that like brings you up, or the lyrics aren't about killing yourself or only doing drugs all the time. Like, again, I'm not like some crazy, like I put on Christian rock only in the gym. Like I'm not even religious, that's not what it's about. But it's just like more like upbeat music that gets you going when it's needed. That does, I'll listen to relaxing music when it's time to relax as well. But, I think that people know that when you eat bad food, you get fat, you get diabetes, you get unhealthy, you're increasing your risk for cancer, you're increasing your risk for stroke, heart attack, yada, yada, yada. But they don't think about what they're watching on TV or YouTube or TikTok, or who they're following on social media, or
Yeah.
or the music they're listening to. And in today's age, with everybody being so connected to their phones, myself included, because that's what I use to get my message out and my business and all this stuff, like you've got to be mindful of what you're consuming. I give this speech to everybody, and depending on the age is how I frame it. If they're like below 13, I don't say it this way, but all, because I do lots of Zoom calls with teams that'll have me talk to their teams and stuff, and speeches in person. And I'm like, look, social media, you guys, I would say, how many of you want to play in the NHL? Every kid raised their hand, all of them. Okay. All right. How many of you guys have social media? All of them raise their hand. All right. Well, you guys have an advantage above, Riley and myself, that we didn't have that when we were younger. You guys have YouTube, where you can look up stick handling drills, shooting drills. You can watch video of your favorite NHL player. You can watch NHL coaches demonstrating and talking about why to do this drill. The same on YouTube, but same on Instagram. You can follow me and watch how I train people for free every single day. Millionaires that pay me to get 1% more out of their body. You can do that. Follow me at Jeff LoVecchio. All right. Same as plug. Right? Like you can do those things. So like if you're saying that you want to be blank, I don't care if it's, let's just use hockey for example. You'll be well, follow, guys like you two, follow me, follow, Mike Boyle, follow strength coaches, follow nutritionists, follow sports psychologists, follow coaches,
Yeah.
follow anybody in any way that could help you be a better hockey player. And that should be 95% of your social media follows. And then if you want to follow Kim Kardashian's butt for 5%, I still wouldn't say you should do it. But like, I feel like kids have it flip flop. They're following hot girls, taking stupid
Yeah.
pics that do nothing, and people on there just flaunting money that they don't really have, taking pictures in front of cars that they rented. It's not real. And it just puts all this wrong stuff in their head. Whereas if you followed the right people, you'd be way happier, you'd be way healthier, and you could be using your phone and social media to get better every day and be happier and healthier. So
Yeah.
what you put into your brain matters just as much as what you're putting in your stomach.
Does Kim Kardashian's butt have its own exclusive Instagram?
She's probably got 50 Instagrams for that thing. I don't know. I don't
But
know, man.
going back to the music thing, isn't it funny when like you get one of these rappers who's very like lyrical, they come up with a song that's just so real and so like relatable to everybody, all of a sudden, like, it's their most popular song. It exceeds any
Yeah.
song about like all the stuff that you're just talking to. So like,
Right.
it's in there. Your brain's like,
Right.
light bulb moment goes off and you're like, wow, this is it. But then it tricks
Yeah.
you, right? It tricks you with all those
Yeah.
other things that it wants. So
I know.
um
Kills me, man.
Ty,
Kills me.
let's end it with your if with Jeff's music,
Okay. Yeah.
his music. Yeah, you know what I'm getting at.
So no, I won't put you on a desert island. That's a little bit much. But you get one final artist, you get one final band to see, dead or alive. Like anybody in existence, like Frank Sinatra, like Johnny Cash, like Rihanna, like who is it?
You can add in a venue too, because
And
sometimes
venue
the
if you want.
venue,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it
Oh
like plays a
man,
role.
dude,
Like Red
this
Rocks,
is impossible.
MSG, like
Ty,
Dude, that's the most.
you said Queen Live Aid, right?
Queen Live Aid would be up there for me.
Ew, that's a good one. What's yours, Riley? While I'm looking through my
I know.
music,
I don't even know.
you don't
Like
even have
someone
one. This
that
is your show.
I know. I don't even. Ty, do you remember what I said? Um,
Uh Guns N' Roses. No.
no, not Guns N' Roses.
Uh,
I mean, I like Led Zeppelin or like I've gotten into Stevie Ray Vaughan. My dad's a big Stevie Ray Vaughan, in like Austin,
Well,
Texas.
so mine changes every day depending on my mood, and I tell people all the time too because they're like, you got one song listening. I'm like, dude, it depends on if I'm down and I need to be up in a minute, or if I'm like slowly building as the morning goes to like get my day going. Like, what do I have? But I would say I one song. There's a couple songs that I can put on where it doesn't matter how down I am, how tired I am, if I'm sick, if I'm tired. If I put on a couple of these songs that I know, like I will immediately be in a better mood. I will be in a better place mentally and physically. So I guess I'll just give you a song. What is it? It's High on Life. You ever heard that song? High on Life. It's an EDM song, and like I'm not a big EDM guy,
oh
but
yes. Yeah, yeah.
Martin
Yes.
Garrix
Yep.
High on Life.
Yep.
If you go to YouTube and you put in High on Life and you watch the YouTube video where it's in a concert where it's like an EDM concert, it looks like there's like 100,000 people. Like the lyrics of the song are super uplifting. Everybody there is like happy, having a good time. Everybody's hugging each other. It's like I would want to be in that crowd in that YouTube video for that specific song because like I just know, like I feel people's energy, and the energy in that it's outside. There's like, the lights are going everywhere and the fireworks and everybody's happy, everybody's hugging, everybody's bouncing to the music at the exact same time. 100,000 people. It's like that scene in the Matrix where they're about to die and they all dance to that last party. It's like that. Like I'm just like that spot right there. Like that's where I want to be. And I because of my hockey career, I've never went to any of those like EDM concerts. But I'm getting married this summer, and so we're going to EDC Vegas for my. I'm not a bachelor party guy, but me and some of my
Damn.
buddies are going there strictly just for like the energy. Like I just want
Yeah.
that energy in my life. I've seen those videos for years, and I've never been to one of those concerts. And I was like, man, I gotta get to one of those. So I guess it would just I couldn't give you an artist because I love music across all genres, but I would say that music video. I wish I could be in the crowd in that video.
It was a pleasure to have you on, my man. And for anybody that didn't hear, Ryle said that we'll have to have you on again, which we will. But yeah, truly, I thank you for what you're doing, especially in the youth hockey space, especially in growing the game in St. Louis, and yeah, I mean, I think it was I don't think Riley and I, we knew of you and we were looking forward to the chat, but I think obviously, as always, it's always nice to just be able to like hear where this all started for you. And as you said, I mean, there has been very big hardships in your life, and what you're doing now, is incredible. So thank you so much again for coming on and sharing, especially about like I said, youth hockey. It's so important, and it's so important to have those messages be brought to our youth at these ages. So yeah, thank you again, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate the time.